everybody, and welcome back to another episode of The Points of Articulation. My name's Dave, and today we're going to be looking at the Star Wars Air Hogs Millennium Falcon drone / quad by Spin Master. Now, this ship was released for the first Force Friday in 2015 for the release of Star Wars The Force Awakens, and I saw it and I really wanted it. It was just very expensive for the time, so I passed on it. Went for the titanium and the 6-inch Black Series figures. But it's a nice ship, very detailed. Now for the size, it is 9¼ inches in length. They do, however, make a giant one. It's like $300 and something. But I mean, super big. Way bigger than my review table. If I had the space and the money, I would totally get it. It looks sick. But I'll have to deal with this. This is pretty good. I'm not knocking this whatsoever. Now, this bad boy has lights, sounds, great details, beautiful paint on it, and it flies. So we have a lot to look at. We're going to take a look at, obviously, the ship, the controller it comes with, how to charge this bad boy, and then we'll see it in action. So we got a lot to cover. Let's get moving. And before I get to the details of this great little craft, let's take a look at the box. Oh my god, yes, I have two, and I'll talk about that at the end of the review. So anywho, the front of the box, we have this nice logo, Star Wars up there, authentic lights and sounds, and it comes with a cool controller. Very nice. Let's turn this over. Now on the back, it says you're going to need 6 AA batteries, does not come with it. Cool looking model right there, more controller stuff. And then up here, we have a little paragraph about the ship. But, yeah, very cool box. Now, when you open this bad boy, let me see if I could get it for you. It's going to come like this. So you're going to have the ship secure like here. You're going to have a nice cord to charge it. And right here on the other side is a controller. So that's basically all you get. And also, you get directions how to use it and fly it. I had to open this to take this out because I lost my original ones. So that does it for the box. So let's take a look at the great ship. And here we have the Millennium Falcon. Look at all that great detail. Now, in my opinion, they didn't even need to put detail on it. If it just looked like it, it would have been interesting. But you know what? They went above and beyond, and they put all this great detail. And before I get to what it's made out of and the props, I just want to take a minute and just look at all this detail, and then we'll continue to review. And there I have a close-up at the front. Beautiful. We have floodlights, which I'll get to in a minute. Very nice. We have our cockpit, airlocks, light up engines, which I'll get to in a second as well. Just look at all that detail. Now, just by looking, you can see it's styrofoam, sorta, but it's not too bad. Lots of nice details. That little section looks pretty good. Looking at the top, we have some great details. Pretty cool. Quad gun. We have our heat vents. And then great details back here by the engine. Very nice. Now for the bottom, more detail. This is very cool. I think they did a nice job with this, with the detail. Now, what is it made out of? It's not really styrofoam per se, but it is type of a durable foam. Now, I mean very durable. I hit this thing into walls, a tree, a fence. Christ, it even went into a pool. And it still works. Nothing's broken. The lights still work. Like, you could flick it. It's good. I would say it's kid-friendly. Because if this hits a kid in the head, it ain't really going to be bad. It's like getting hit with a pillow or something like that. But, it has all the parts that we're used to seeing on the Falcon. And I already went over the main details, but we have our cockpit, we have our airlocks, we have the boarding ramp down here, we have our quad guns. Mine has a little damage, but it is what it is. That's for me flying around like a nut. And then we have our air vents, or I should say heat exhaust vents or heat vents. Not really air vents. That's my bad. Now you may be asking yourself, Dave, where's the rest of the iconic images from the Falcon, like the rest of the vents or the satellite dish? Well, what they did was they put in these 4 propellers, the quad, and that kind of takes away from the detail, which is acceptable for what it is. It's not too bad. When I fly, I like to think that it's when Lando and Neenub went into the Death Star and hit the dish off. Like, come on, that's awesome. And by the way, who else wants like a Black Series figure of Neenub? We need Neenub, damn it. So, anywho, the propellers are plastic. They're very durable. As you're gonna see, I was flying this in my friend's backyard, and when this landed on the grass and I tried to take off, this cut all the grass. I tried to clean it for the most part, but some grass is still there. You can see 2 pieces of grass there. So these are very nice. There is an issue with all this technology, though. They don't offer you any replacement items. Like, you can't get a new battery or blades. And I'll talk more about that at the end of the video. But detail-wise, this thing is amazing. And back here, we have our engine, like I said before. And you can see it has those nice, I don't want to say ribbed. I don't know what it would call, like slots that the thrust would come out of. And I like that a lot. Now, if you turn on the power, right there, the back does light up, a nice blue LED. And that looks weird on my camera. I like that a lot. And in the front, we have our 2 floodlights, which are bright white. Now, when you're flying this, at times it will blink, and I'll get to that when I talk about charging it, but it is really cool. I like it a lot. And they didn't need to put lights in it, but it just adds so much to it. So that basically does it for the detail. I think it is pretty damn good. So you want to know what makes detail better? Sometimes paint. So let's take a look at that. When it comes to the paint, I think they did a great job. The first color on here is a nice tan, and that's over everything. Great color. It's on the sides, the front, the bottom, everything. Now on top of that, we do have some extra colors, but first, a nice spray color, which is a brown. Adds a nice little amount of detail on there. I like that a lot. It's even on the bottom. Pretty cool. Now, on top of that, we do have a light bluish gray. I guess you could just say it's light gray. And that's located on different panels. And I think it looks pretty cool. Especially on the bottom. Pretty nice. Now, on top of that, we have a dark gray, which starts right here on the cockpit. Wraps around. And we have some nice detail right there. And then it's mostly on these circles and the vents right here. And I like that. They didn't have to put so many colors on there, but for the price of this, it's nice. I'm not going to lie. So then, second to last color, we have red. And it's a nice maroon, very much like the Republic red. And that's on the bottom as well. And our final color is black. For the window with a quad gun, the other window, and for the cockpit right here, which is painted pretty damn good. A little uneven there, but what are you going to do? And that pretty much does it for the paint. I think it is pretty damn good. Combined with the detail, it gives the illusion that this is a Falcon when it's flying. It looks pretty damn awesome. And that does it for the paint. I think it is a nice job on here. And when you combine that paint with the details they put into the foam body, I think it's really nice and gives the illusion when it's flying that this is somewhat of the real deal, which is nice. You always want your ships, no matter if it's on your shelf or if it's RC, to look like what it's trying to be. So, before we fly, let's take a look at the controller. Okay, for the controller, I thought I would break this into 3 sections. First will be layout, sounds, and then how to charge your device. Okay, for the layout, let's get started on the back. We have our battery compartment held together with 2 Phillips head screws. You're going to need 6 AA batteries to power this bad boy, which are not included. But once you get that in, you're good to go. Then we have the 2 shoulder buttons. This one plays all the sound effects. We'll go through them in a little bit. This one is the hyperspace button. Now, I think it's called the hyperspace accelerator, and they say it's a stunt button. Now what this does, besides play the hyperspace sound, is make the Falcon go a little faster. I slightly notice it when I fly it. If it didn't have the sound effect, I wouldn't even know. But onto the main controller face, we have 2 joysticks. This one right here on the right hand side is for the ship to go left and right, forward and back. And this joystick right here is about the throttle, so that makes the ship go up, down, and how fast it moves when using this. So if you want to go fast, you pump this bad boy all the way up, and it's going to rise really quickly, and then you got to control it with this one. And depending on how good you are, you can operate this so it hovers in one area. Now, not to get off topic, but the Falcon does not work well if you have winds or high wind areas or a breeze. I'm not good with aerodynamics, so I cannot answer why. But I took it to a bunch of classrooms when I was at my job, and it works beautifully indoors, I will say that. But outside, slightest breeze hits it, you're going to have to control it because it's going to go wibbly wobbly. But not a big deal because it does fly outside, you just got to be a little careful. Now right here we have our charger indicator button. Well, it's not really a button, it's a light. And I'll get to this when I talk about charging. We have our audio. Audio on. Mute. And then we have our power on button, which glows green when you press it. For the underneath, we have our charging cable port right there. And then this piece opens up. Let me see if I could get it. And this plugs into the Falcon, which we'll look at in just a moment. But that basically does it for the layout of the controller. And also we have a handle. Minor event. So let's get to the sounds. Okay, now for the sounds, first thing you have to do, make sure this switch is on the audio and not mute it. Make sure your controller's on. You can see the little green light in there. And also, for mine anyway, you have to turn on your Falcon. Oh, there we go. It's already starting. I don't even know how I did that. I didn't hit any buttons. But for the normal sounds, and those are the basic sounds. We have the R2-D2, the quad guns, Chewie roaring, and finally the one that confuses me is it sounds exactly like an AT-ST gun, and I don't get that, but whatever, it's nice to have all those sounds on there. So now, let's click the hyperspace accelerator, see what that does. Pretty cool. But obviously we have the drive-by music, which happens when you hit the accelerator. I don't know how I got the deflector shield beeping sound to happen. That's just unique. Oh, there we go. See, I don't even know what I did. But okay, everybody, so it was kind of messing with me that I didn't know how those 2 audio sounds work. I figured it out. The directions told me where the ignition noise comes from. That's the one where I said once you turn it on and take off, it makes that sound. I was partially right. When you turn the controller on and the Falcon and it links together and they're ready to go, as you can see here, it makes that noise because they're linked. But anyhow, I'm not going to waste any more of your time. Let's get to charging. For charging the Millennium Falcon, the first thing you get out of the box is a nice USB cord. Obviously, this part can plug into your computer as the directions say. And this piece looks like an Xbox charger cord. Actually goes into the controller here. But what I found is you don't really need a computer. So if you don't have one, Not a big deal. You go to Five Below or dollar stores or something like that. Or if you have an iPhone, and get yourself one of these. Oops, I always do it the wrong way. And just plug it in the wall. So that's step one. You want to power this up. Next, you're going to take that cord, and you're going to line it up and gently push in there. And that's step two. Now step three, we're going to open this section here. It's always tricky. There we go. And here we have this cord. We're going to plug this into the Falcon. Now you take that, like I mentioned, and plug it in. Be very gentle with that because it is foam. And now, since you're all plugged in, you're good to go. Now you may be wondering, Dave, how do I know when this thing needs to be charged? Well, while you're using it, the lights that I mentioned before in the front, the floodlights and the engine, they will begin to blink when the battery is low. That's the indicator that you need to turn off the power and get this thing ready to charge. So what do you got to do? The directions say to let this bad boy cool down for 10 to 15 minutes. That lets the battery and the engine relax and whatever and get ready for the charging process. So, now that all the cords are plugged in, what's next? On the controller, you can see it is blinking red right above my finger. That indicates that it is now charging. Now what's going to happen is this light is going to turn solid green. When it's solid green, you're good to go, and this bad boy is fully charged and ready to fly. Now guys, I think I found out where that beep 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 sound comes from. When this lands or hits something hard, it comes on. Problem solved. Guess that answers why it makes a deflector shield sound. Finally, like 40 minutes later, it's finally charged. And there we see the green light where the charge bolt is, which means we can fly now. So let's go. Okay, as we can see, it just takes right off. And I love this shot here. It shows how nicely it flies. Tilts a little forward when it goes straight. And, you know, it is a little windy, so I lose a little control. But here I'm showing that you could take this thing off from any surface, basically. And, oh, look at underneath how it hovers over the camera. That is so cool. And here I take it off from my hand. Really nice. We can see the blue LEDs shining bright. Now, at this point, I've been driving this thing around for about 5 minutes. Now, at first, it's a little hard to fly, but once you get the controls, you're good to go. And this has a great distance, by the way. You can fly this up to 200 feet away in good conditions. And, damn, it just looks so nice. Almost like the real deal. So at this point, the batteries are done. We can see the lights blinking here. So, one last shot. Get it coming off my head. Now for size comparison with the RC Millennium Falcon, I have it next to the Titanium Millennium Falcon, nice ship there. The Hasbro Micro Machines Millennium Falcon from The Force Awakens. And then right here, a nice big ship, is the Star Wars Armada Home 1. Nice Mon Calamari cruiser there. Very nice. You can see how big this ship really is. And one last comparison with the Falcon, I have it next to the Star Wars Black Series 6-inch Boba Fett. Very nice figure. Yes, it's real. And that does it for my review today of the Star Wars Air Hogs Millennium Falcon drone by Spin Master. Or Quad, whatever you want to call it. Now, I'm not a huge fan of RC vehicles. I never had them as a kid, maybe that's why. But I fell in love with this thing. It looks great. It has a lot of details that didn't even need to be there, but they were. Once you get the hang of working with the controller, it is easy and fun to fly. It is beautiful, and I really mean that. You know, if I went back in time 20, 30 years ago and said I want a remote control Falcon, not only wasn't it possible back then, but people would have laughed at you. Like, the Falcon's not aerodynamic. They can't really do anything with no winds or anything like that. And in today's world, thanks to these drones and these quadcopter capabilities, we can have odd shapes that fly. And, you know, I wish my grandparents and great uncle were still alive to see this. they would be blown away. Yes, it works because of science and all that, but it's sort of magical to see something that you grew up seeing in a movie and then you could control it yourself. It's awesome, and I'm so happy that Walmart and Air Hogs released an Imperial Star Destroyer, and yes, I got that on clearance and I bought that. I'll review that at some other point. But anywho, this ship, for the size, again, it is 9¼ inches long. Very nice size. Again, what are the pros of this? Beautiful detail. The foam that it's made out of, very durable. And believe it or not, when I was flying this at my friend's backyard, it fell in his pool. And this engine right here, it died. So I got really nervous, and I just turned off the power, let it dry out, and now it's back to normal. So it's very durable. If it gets wet, obviously this whole part went in the pool right here. It just dried out, now it works fine, flies good. It has some nice sounds. I still don't understand why they have an ATST laser sound, but whatever, I love it. Great sound effects. Now, I really don't want to give it negatives, but here's my little list of cons. What bothers me most about this is not that it's missing details because of the copter blades. It is all about the non-replaceable items on here. The battery pack that's inside of here that powers it cannot be ripped out and replaced with something better without destroying everything. The battery life is about 5 to 10 minutes if you're lucky, and it's not very good in the wind. Like I mentioned before, this thing, shakes all over the place when you're trying to do any type of maneuver in some place that has the slightest amount of wind. However, if you're flying this in a house or a big building, the world is yours. This guy is awesome. You could get some nice light fixtures and fans and stuff like that. Very cool. But that's my only real negative, that you can't buy extra stuff to upgrade or fix this, which is a huge pain in the butt. Now, for the price, this was around or over $120 when it came out, and I passed on it, and here it is. Rogue One came out a couple months after that. It was around, I would say, April or May of 2017, and I was walking in Walmart, and they had a huge clearance aisle, and I got this one for $60. And then I was walking with my father into Walmart, and it was only a couple weeks later, and I got a second one for $20. Like, holy moly. So that one is still in the box. Now, I did open it to get the directions, because my original one, I lost it by accident. However, going with that, I did want to say, if I do reach 500 subs, I probably will be giving away my extra Millennium Falcon quad drone. I never used it. I just opened it to get the stuff out. I just picked it up because it was $20, and I couldn't say no in case this one broke. But, if the fan base is there and we get more people watching my channel, I would be very open to having some sort of contest and giving that bad boy away. Now, back to the ending of this review. I fully recommend it. If you're a fan of the original Star Wars or the Millennium Falcon, grab it if you can find it. I don't see them in my area anymore, but a lot of stuff is on clearance because now The Last Jedi stuff is coming out. So just jump on it. Trust me, you'll love it. The only problem you might have is the battery life, but you can't pass it up. It is really cool. It is kid-friendly. The foam is durable. You can squish it and move it. Land it in a pool, like I mentioned, it's fine. And remember, if you do pick this up, it will need 6 AA batteries to put in the remote control. After that, you're golden. You're good to go. And that's basically all I have to say about the ship. It's beautiful. I recommend it. End of story. It's awesome. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed my review. If you did, hit that like button. And if you want to see new reviews every Thursday, click subscribe. So again, thank you for watching, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye, everybody.